If we go back to the original application.
And the Geronimo CUP was not by us, that was issued by you to the prior owner of the project, and we inherited that part of the project. And again, a letter of May 9th or even March of 2019 is still months after the permit was issued here, so how can that be fraud, evidence of fraud back in when our application was submitted and considered by this body?
We have to deal with this point per person, not across. Okay? Let's deal with one question at a time, and we'll give you an opportunity to make a comment.
So where we're at now, Mr. Chair, is if there are more questions, the board may ask questions of the appellant to respond. If there are no more questions, you can have board discussion.
Are there any more questions?
Then, if there are no questions, Mr. Chair, we will want to entertain a motion to approve the appellant's request. A motion to approve the appellant request, a yes vote would indicate a disagreement with the zoning officer granting the appellant's request. A no vote would substantiate the zoning officer's decline of the complaint. So yes means you're with the appellant asking to revoke the permit. A no represents going with your zoning officer upholding her interpretation of the decision. You need a motion to that effect.
We have an motion on the board. You understand?
Should be the affirmative. We need a motion to approve this to get to the next step.
To get the next step.
So you're looking for a motion?
A motion to approve the appellant's request to overturn the decision of the zoning officer. All that does is gets us to the vote.
So we got to do a positive. I'll make a motion.
Second, and then we can.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second by Jeff, motion by Mike. Now, Mr. Chair, you may ask for further discussion amongst the board.
Any other remarks?
Then you can pass to call the roll.
Roll call, vote.
Points of clarification, a yes is in favor of the appellant, a no would be in favor of the zoning officer.
Sleddy?
No.
Adler?
No.
Mock?
No.
McCoy?
No.
Weber?
No.
Sparks?
No.
Pulaski?
Yes.
6-1.
We are now moving on to, Mr. Chair, complaint number 2. Complaint number 2 is... That's right, 2, is that right, Christie?
Yes.
Complaint number 2 is to stop the construction of any turbines that have a change in turbine size. Is how the response of the zoning officer. I will get the clock set up and the appellant will have 10 minutes, 15 minutes to say.
Okay. This project was passed at the county level of information in Crown Ridge's application. The turbine south of Jake Peterson's and south of Kevin Owens' house, turbine 120, was permitted at a 1.7 megawatt generator with an 80-meter hub height. That's to the center of the nacelle, from the ground to the center of the nacelle. When you pass the CUP, according to the application, you believe the turbine 120 was a 1.7 megawatt generator with an 80-meter hub height. There's nothing in the application to lead you or the public to believe that a turbine 120 would be built as anything other than that. Now, Tyler may tell you they always plan to build a 485-foot turbine, but in their application they specify what size each turbine is going to be. Here is the building permit. copy of the building permit on Jake Peterson's property. I didn't get it wrong. Okay, number 5 of the 6 is turbine 120. On front of this permit issued by the zoning officer, all of these turbines were permitted as 2.3 megawatts and 90-meter hub heights. When I went to look at the building permits at the zoning office, I asked for the supporting documents for the permits. The auditor said you refer back to the application. The application and this building permit do not match. In fact, I believe it is a 2.7 megawatt generator installed on a 90-meter hub height. At last month's meeting, Zach Peterson gave you this counsel for the board to remember what your intent was when you passed the cup. Turbine 120 was always represented as a 1.7 megawatt generator with an 80-meter hub height. Was your intent to have a 1.7 megawatt generator 80 meters high across from Jake Peterson's family to protect their little boy who already has pressure in his head? When you passed the cup, according to the application, you believe turbine 120 was a 1.7 megawatt generator with 80-meter hub height. There's nothing in the application to lead you or the public to believe it would be anything other than that. According to your letter of assurance, the board approved the conditional use permit based on staff report, testimony at the meeting, and information submitted in the application. On all maps in Appendix F, for a total of 19 times, it referred Crown Ridge 120 as a GE 1.7 megawatt turbine, 80-meter hub height. This turbine does not match the cup and must be removed. That's all I've got on this complaint.
Okay, so what I have to add to that is that we're sending around some pictures. You can see the turbines in Grant County that I have pictures of are 2.7 megawatts. That is the model, right there. That's not a 1.7. On top of that, Miles is probably going to get up here and say, oh, but we still meet the shadow and flicker requirements. Big deal. The thing is that turbine was supposed to be a 1.7 megawatt at 80 feet. Okay, I have some pictures here of how that looks with the neighbor. These are actually going to be used in another exhibit, but this is Jake Peterson's house, and this is where the turbine is. You guys can each have one of these. We'll pull them out for a little bit later too. When we talk about Jake and Lee's report. The big pictures that I passed around, 3 of them are on the PUC website showing, I went out, I talked to the guys doing the construction, took pictures. They're 2.7 megawatt models. And he's going to come up, all the software is 2.3. We're going to get into a little bit of that a little bit later about software, gears, and all that and how that affects it. It doesn't matter. They presented that was going to be a 1.7, and they put in a 2.7. And they did admit it at the PUC on December 30th. I don't even know if they know what's in there because first the attorney and Josh Tran representing them said that all of them were 2.7s, and then the last meeting in January 7th, they walked it back. So we're in the process of trying to figure out exactly what's out there.
The blades are different. Blades are different too. The blades are different too.
Oh, the blades.
They're 1.3 rotor diameter.
Oh, yeah, the 1.3, if you look on there, the 1.3 rotary diameter and they're 1/16. So the blades are bigger too. It's not what they said they were going to do. I want to know if I can go ask for an 8x10 shed or a 2-car garage and go put in a mega shop. What are you guys going to do to me if I do that?
Respond, Mr. Chair, have the opportunity after 15 minutes.
Miles Schumacher again for Town Ridge. I'm going to try to be polite. Ms. Mogan participated in the hearing in front of the Public Utilities Commission by telephone last week, where it was clarified that these are not 2.7 turbines. They're 2.3 turbines. What she passed around and showed you was a shipping model that shows you the platform as issued by GE. It's like, one of the commissioners used the analogy of horsepower in a car. You can get a Camaro that's got a big block engine in it, and it's got way more horsepower than a Camaro with a 327, or even initially they had 285s in them, but it's still a Camaro. The platform that GE issued, and the way it was presented in the applications here in the PUC, it's called a 2 megawatt platform. And in that 2 megawatt platform, they can send you a turbine that's a 2.0, a 2.3, or a 2.7. The shipping label says 2.7 because that's how they identify them in GE. What Crown Ridge ordered and purchased and built are 2.3 megawatt turbines. I have the nameplate certificate, not a shipping label. I have a letter from GE that explains all of this, that these are 2.3 megawatt turbines. So the footprint of the project is the same as what is permitted by the county. The county did not permit per turbine any particular generation capacity. The permit doesn't restrict, as the zoning director noted in her findings. It does not restrict any particular location or any particular turbine to a specified capacity. So there again, once again, we're talking about backdoor attempt to appeal. There's nothing here that is a violation of the permit. There's nothing here that's a violation of any of the ordinances of the county. These turbines will be fully compliant with the sound and shadow flicker thresholds established by the county. So there's no violation. There's nothing that ought to be done here. I will pass around the letter and the actual nameplate certificate from GE that came out at the last PUC hearing that clarifies this misunderstanding on the part of the appellants.
Terry, would you let Christine look at that first?
I have it. I have it, and I want you to read it.
But it is taller, right?
The location that is being mentioned, in the application, it was noted and shown on an exhibit as a GE 1.7 megawatt machine, 103 rotor diameter, and an 80 meter hub height. Those turbines were no longer utilized. Anything that was a 1.7 was no longer utilized within the project. The project only utilized turbines of 2.3 megawatts at rotor diameters of 116 and 90 meter hub heights, and 2.3 megawatts at 116 rotor diameter at 80 meter hub heights. So as far as what was permitted, as far as turbine types, turbine heights, we did not exceed the highest specified turbine height. In this general location here, or throughout the entire project, our setbacks are built in to accommodate for the largest turbine possible. We don't get cute and cite things based off of smaller turbine heights. We build in the setbacks, so if there is a reason where 90-meter hub height had to be switched with an 80-meter hub height, that is something that could be moved without having to shift the locations. When we filed the application and listed the GE17s, that was our intention to use those machines at that time. As time proceeds and project delays occur and things of that nature, as a wind developing company, we purchase our turbines in mass quantities, and those are used on an ex-hub basis across our entire fleet. The GE17s were initially designated to our project, and they were utilized by another project in our portfolio because it was on a quicker timeline than us, and they were next in line to be used. So we did not exceed the tallest turbine height that was specified in that application, but in that general location, the turbine height did increase.
Obviously, there was a reason why it was supposed to be smaller when all the rest of them were taller in the first place.
Not necessarily. So,
Tyler, if we went back and we would update.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
so the question was, why was the turbine smaller in the first place?
That's the question.
We do cite our smaller turbines that are offered in areas of lower wind resource because the taller turbines will capture more wind in higher wind resource areas. In this general location, the smaller turbine was proposed because the wind resource was not as good. I didn't see
Seems
the...
backwards. You
I'm
put a
sorry.
smaller one in where the resource is poor, and if you go with a bigger one, you have a better chance of catching wind.
That's correct. That's correct. They have a higher hub height. The wind channels in the state of South Dakota are at higher elevations, and a larger rotor diameter. Yes, sir. Yes.
So that would catch more wind.
A larger turbine would. Yes, sir.
So why would you put a smaller one in where there was less resource?
Because it's a less operable area. Right? We get more. We were able to optimize the project by better capturing greater wind resource areas, and then putting in a smaller turbine that it's kind of a wash. There's not really a big gain by inserting a smaller turbine in a lower wind resource area versus putting a bigger turbine in a higher wind resource area.
What assurance do we have that, I guess reading in here, I guess these are all going to be controlled from down in Florida and stuff? Now, what assurance do we have, seeing how the label is 2.7, that you're not going to hype them up to 2.7 when they're supposed to be a 1.7 or a 2.3?
You can't. If you've got
I mean, you can't.
Mr. Chairman.
If you've got a Camaro with a large block, or with a small block engine, you can't just hit the accelerator and all of a sudden generate more horsepower. There's no way to do that because there's gears and the turbine itself are 2.3 generation. You'd have to go in and replace numerous components in the nacelle and the shell itself in addition to making a software change.
Which is comparing it to a car, you can just
The
change.
question was directed to him. Once somebody wants to ask you a question, Ms. Mulligan, they can ask you a question.
You
So I
can do
guess
it
I
with
still don't
software.
understand your answer.
Well,
Why, I mean, what's going to keep you from, if you're down in Florida, sitting in a big computer room,
that won't do it. You have to go up in the turbine and remove the engine, the turbine, the components. You can't just push a button in Florida and change the turbine from 2.3
so why aren't they,
to 2.7.
I mean, you're saying you're moving from one project to the other, but your labels are not. I mean, it just seems to me that you're just moving things around and trying to make.
Is it a Chevy or is it a Cadillac?
Okay.
Did anybody want to ask Ms. Mulligan?
I do.
I'm not on here. Which is worth one? Let's look at it costs. If it's rated at 2.7 and it's rated at 2 and going to operate at 2.3.
But that's not how it works. Again, this is a 2.3 turbine. They use
So
the
the
same,
value is the
they
same?
use the same shell for 2.0, 2.3, and 2.7. It's what's under the hood, plus the software that makes it a 2.3. What we ordered and what we bought are 2.3 megawatt turbines.
Is the value the same?
Yes, it's a 2 point, well, no. If you have the higher, I don't know what the pricing is. I don't know.
There is a difference in turbine price if you were to purchase a
So
2.7.
why would you spend more money
But they
to
didn't.
operate at 2.3?
They're not.
So we did not spend more money to operate at 2.3. So GE, when they kick out these models, you could have anything size on the assembly pieces that they deliver, anything from a 2.0, a 2.3, and a 2.7. What they put on there when they ship it is their most recent model that they're putting out, which is a 2.7. Everything that we've purchased to operate the actual turbine runs it at a 2.3 megawatt machine. So if you look at all of the nameplates that are located on every turbine that are out there, it's listed as 2.3 megawatts. The way that they were delivered in the pictures that were taken had a 2.7 shipping label on them because they could, if you purchased everything else to go along with the 2.7 machine, operate at 2.7 megawatts. I'll say we are limited to how much we could kick out per our interconnection agreement at our point of interconnection where we inject the power. We have to go through studies and studies and studies showing that these turbines are running at this nameplate capacity based off of this wind resource to make sure that there's no overages on the grid, that we're not tripping anything. So we are not allowed, nor could we physically do it even if we wanted to. It's not possible. This is really the confusing piece is that there was a 2.7 label on the shipping piece that was delivered from GE.
So you're going to take those 2.7 labels off?
Every turbine has a 2.3 megawatt nameplate on it. Like that is visible. What was shown again was when they were shipped. If you look at the pictures, it is in a however you want to call it, it's like you can tell it's a temporary attachment on the equipment that was delivered.
Did anybody have a question for Ms. Moulton?
May I have my rebuttal?
Yes.
Have you seen the labels that say 2.3 on it?
Okay, so he handed out this letter to you. This is what it says. The 2.7 megawatt capable turbines installed on Crown Ridge Wind were contracted in March and September of 2018 as part of a 300 unit turbine commitment for 2.3 to 2.7 capable machines. This is their letter. It goes on to say the 2.7 megawatt designation reflected in the pictures provided by NEAR are per GE standard components identification process, which documents the maximum capacity, megawatt capacity for the component. On the next page, it says, please identify each component of a GE 2.7 116 wind turbine that differs from a 2.3. The generator, the gearbox, the hub, the converter are different for a 2.7 wind turbine and a 2.3 wind turbine. These differences do not impact the hub height, the rotor diameter, or the sound or flicker. So he is getting you confused with nameplate versus model. Because you see nameplate, then they're going to get in trouble for tax fraud with the state of South Dakota. So now GE's sending them out little stickers to put 2.3s on there because they're going to dial some of these back. He didn't say, the interconnection doesn't say per turbine, it says 200 megawatts. So when some of those turbines aren't flowing over here, they're 2.3s, the 2.7s can be revved up and being 2.7. Do they have the software? I don't know. They didn't tell us that they were going to put in 2.7s with the capability of being 2.7. And they clearly, by this letter, ordered them March and September of 2018. So they've known, they didn't do anything. Those are 2.7 models I don't care what the nameplate says. The model. The application on that, where it says 120, you were just looking at with all the list, it says turbine